So, to knit this sock, I just cast on, did some 1x1 ribbing in the round, of course, and just knitted a tube, kept knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting until I ran out of the hand spun yarn, and then I did the other end with 1x1 ribbing. That way I used all available hand spun, and I can now go back and measure out the midpoint of the tube. That's where I'm going to cut to make the toes, and I'll show you that in a moment. So I measured the knitting, and from cuff to cuff, from the end of each cuff, the non-ribbed part of the sock is 34 inches, 34 3/4 inch. So my midway point is 17 3/8 of an inch. I'm marking that with a double pointed needle, and this is where I'm going to cut. So I will do that now. A little bit nervous, but I've done it before. I've measured twice. I'm only going to cut once, and we'll see how it goes. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but I just made the first cut, the only cut, and now I'm just unraveling. This yarn is pretty grabby, so I'm not concerned about any real unraveling. I'm just going to pick it out and expose the live stitches, and then I'll put those stitches back on needles and knit a pair of toes. So I'll be back when I'm done with those, or maybe when I've started them, to show you. This is fun. Okay. Okay, now it's done with supervision. I now have 2 separate tubes, and I will be putting these live stitches onto my needles and knitting a toe on each of these, and then coming back and figuring out where I want the heel. Okay, so I figured out where I wanted to put the heel based on how this sock fit on my foot. And you want to make sure when you get ready to cut, we're gonna unravel half the stitches of the tube. I have 36 inches around, so I'm going to unravel across 18. But you want to make sure that the heel is going to be lined up with the flattened toe, because you don't want to have a toe here and then a heel that comes out that way. So I've got this ready to go, and I'm going to snip 1 stitch. There we go. And I will start unraveling from there. That will expose live stitches again on either side of this hole, this gap. And I'm going to put those live stitches again on my double points. And as I mentioned, just want to do half of them, so you don't want to go any further than this edge or this edge. So I'm going to unravel now. So I've cut and unraveled, and I wanted you to see it before I've done anything further, so you can see that it can look a little messy, and it can be a little unnerving the first time or two that you do it. But I'm going to clean it up. I've got some dropped stitches in here, as you can see, so I need to pick some stitches back up on this side. I'll put these on 4 needles and get to knitting, and I'm going to knit a toe, basically, where the heel, I mean, that's what the heel is. An afterthought heel will look just like this toe, basic toe. And then I will weave in these ends when I'm done. One thing I said that you want half the stitches on the heel, and that's true, but it's actually, I have half, so I have 36 around, and I unraveled 18 stitches, but that gives me 18 for the top of the heel, 18 for the bottom of the heel. So I'm actually still working on 36, but on the other side here I still have 18 more stitches that I did not unravel. And you can see I unraveled all the way to the edge of the sock. So now I'm going to pick up these drop stitches I have in here and add my contrast yarn and knit my heel. So here are the finished socks blocking. I always block my socks to smooth out any imperfections in my knitting or in my tension, and especially I find it important with hand spun socks. This is some early hand spun yarn, and it had some issues with, it was a bit energized, and so it was kind of slanting a little bit when I was done, I noticed. Probably wouldn't be a big deal on, but I don't know, I like the way they feel once they're blocking. So these are, or once they've been blocked. These are blocking now. I've got them on my sock blockers, and they are just about dry and ready for fall.